Greetings of the day, everyone. I feel Sharif feel privileged to welcome you all into the first children's edition of Orange City Literature Festival, organized by SGR Knowledge Foundation in association with GH Raisoni University, powered by Raisoni Group of Institutions. The motive behind the fest is to explore the ways that should help the students to develop emotional intelligence. Exposing children to quality literature can contribute to the creation of responsible, successful, and caring individuals. Everyone needs a support system, someone to build them up after they have been broken down, someone to piece them back together when they have been taken apart, someone to encourage them to follow their dreams and to do impossible, and most importantly, someone to be there to support and accept them through anything and everything. This is where not only family, but your siblings become useful and necessary in your life. And such bond between an elder one with a younger one has been beautifully penned down by our speaker of the day, Ma'am Raisha Lalwani, in her book, The Day My Brother Became My Best Friend. So before we start, let me introduce our speaker for the day, Raisha Lalwani, a reader by day and a writer by night as a content homemaker. Her passion for writing started at an early age and has been growing since. After being trained as a singer in classical Hindustani music, she later went on to a master's in international business. She has lived in Mumbai, Jaipur, Delhi, and Dubai. She has previously authored The Diary on the Fifth Floor. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I also feel honored to introduce the moderator of today's session, Dr. Mrunal Naik, ma'am. Ma'am is currently the project head at SGR Knowledge Foundation, the Raisoni Group of Institutions, and is the project director of Orange City Literature Festival since its first edition in November 2019. She has over 15 years of experience in various fields with a PhD, triple master, and a double bachelor's degree to her name. She writes for the various magazines and newspapers and has a blog on her own name. We welcome you, ma'am. So without further delay, I hand over the session to Mrunal, ma'am.
Thank you, Tofel. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome Raisha. We are very happy to have you in this Children's Literature Festival. But there is one question in my mind which is poking, before we were discussing, like I was discussing with Raisha before on phone. So the major question that poked, number of times. So the question was, you wrote a diary on fifth floor before, and it is somewhere a serious kind of a novel for elders. And it's like, you feel so many stories related to it, which relates to you and your personality. How have you thought about shifting from that particular genre to this?
Hi, Mrunal. Thank you for having me here, first of all. And coming back to your question, I think if you look at it from an outside perspective, of course, that was a serious book and it was for young adults. And this is a very sweet, loving book for children. But, if you read them, you will understand that they both talk about human emotions in some way or the other. Even the diary on the fifth floor was it emphasized on how important it is to know what you're feeling. And the day my brother became my best friend is about how an older sibling feels when there is a new baby in the family. So if you look at the broader picture, they both talk about human emotions, just the age is different. So I think I like talking about what people are feeling because not everyone is capable of saying it out loud. So I think that is what my forte is. I really like to address the elephant in the room.
So it's like this book is going to help young readers to relate their feelings, like how they feel when a new member comes in,
Actually, yes,
right? So
in a way, like it has got a rhyme scheme. It is written in a way for a child to enjoy it, for a child to read it, to relate to it, and also for a parent sitting next to the child to understand what my child must be going through since there's a new baby in the family. So it's for both ages. It's for a parent as well as for a child to relate to, and to how to make this transition better in an older sibling's life when there is a new baby in the family. I think it's very important because a lot of, I think all our lives, all of us who've had siblings have had this complaint with our mama papa that, oh, you love this one more than me. So I think it just addresses that issue, and it's done in a way that is easy to relate, is what I would want to say.
yeah, actually, I was going through this beautiful book, like illustration is beautiful. The pages in the book is like, it is separated with so many things and stages. I actually marked it here, and to be very honest, since this book is in my hand, I read it twice. And it's like, you can finish it. As a parent, also, you can just go through this book and, connect yourself with your kids. You have two champs with you, Adhiraj and Rajveer.
Yes.
How have you experienced this particular thing? What is the age difference between them?
Okay, so my older one, Abhiraj, is 8.5, and the younger one is Rajveer, who is 5.5. They're 3 years apart. And when Rajveer was born, I could, from the minute I went to the hospital, even before that, actually, when I knew that, it was time, it was my 9th month of pregnancy, and I knew that anytime I would be going to the hospital, I was kind of preparing him. And what I felt, it is very important because when the new baby is born, the baby has very little requirements, feeding, burping, changing, all this. The baby doesn't understand what's happening. But for the older child, he has been the sole attention up until now. And suddenly that attention is going to be shared with another child. So what I used to do was I used to give all the importance to my older son, so that he would feel like, okay, he has welcomed the child and there is no jealousy and there is no like marking territory and stuff like that. So I think it was a very tricky time for me and for any other parent for that matter, because to get this right, if you get it right, you're sorted for life, and if you can't, then it's just difficult, as they grow up, it just keeps getting more and more difficult. So
This book talks from the stage, like, when a child comes to know that there is something in a tummy and something is going on, whether it is a football or whether you ate so much. क्या हुआ है आपके साथ कि आप ऐसे चल रहे हो and you are not able to play with me? So the insecurity somewhere starts from that point.
yeah, I think kids can sense it. So I'll just tell you my personal experience. When I started to show, like my tummy started to show. Before that, Abhiraj, my oldest son, he was really excited that I want a baby, and we were kind of preparing him, talking to him about it and everything. And as soon as the tummy started to show, he got a little weird, because then it suddenly became real. That okay, up until now it was all talking, and now there is actually something inside. So it was a beautiful experience how we used to read to the baby together. And I used to give him examples of how I was when I was younger with my other siblings. I have two sisters, so that's how I try to explain to him. And then yeah, it just, I think it is a slow and gradual process, and that's how we did it.
So most of the time, मतलब कई बार ऐसा होता है कि बच्चों को ये कन्विंस करना कि now there is somebody in their family, because even your book says that attention goes to the kid.
Yeah.
For sure, when we are going through the story of Ben and Andrew, so Ben is 4 years, like 4 साल बड़ा है वो एंड्रयू से, और अचानक 4 साल जो पूरा अटेंशन एक बच्चे के पास आ रहा है, उसके बाद वो दूसरे की तरफ शिफ्ट हो रहा है, तो
Yeah.
वो जो इनसिक्योरिटी डेवलप हो रही है, what you can suggest, like for parents, first we will talk about the parents, ki what you can suggest to the parents that how they can deal with this insecurity of a kid.
Okay, so I think it's a teamwork. Okay, so like no matter how many members in the house there are, I think everyone needs to work as a team. So I'll give you an example of how we did it. Um, so you know how we constantly tell children that, okay, if you're being nice, Santa is going to get you presents, and if you're naughty, then no presents for you this year. So this is how we started it, because I knew my date was around December, and that's when Christmas is. So I kept telling him that, you know, if you're going to be a good boy, if you're going to do this, Santa's going to bring you a present. And then he said, I want a baby. And this is actually in my book. I wrote the exact thing that my son said to me,
Yes.
that Mama, I want a baby. And so throughout, he was prepared that, okay, Christmas is coming, the baby's coming. Christmas is coming, the baby's coming. And as a team, uh, like his uncles and aunts had flown in, and they used to make sure that he's feeling important at all times, whether it was an art and craft activity, whether it was you know, taking him out to eat something. It was like a constant effort on the grandparents side, and my sisters, my brothers, everyone, they were trying, they were making sure that he is always feeling wanted and important. And when the baby also, when my younger one came home from the hospital, we made sure that, you know, the older one's room was decorated as well, and he was feeling as welcomed as the younger one. So I think these little things, like till date, if someone is coming to my house, I'm very besharam. I tell them it's my younger one's birthday, but you have to bring a present for both my kids. I will not accept this one present, okay? Because that's what I do. I reward them together. You know, we do things, everything together, so that there's an equal balance.
True.
A lot of people ask me that, whom do you love more? And I think it's the most silly question on this earth, because being a parent, you know what the answer is. Uh, Obviously, you want to love them equally, but the way you love them is different, because their needs are different. So it is not necessary if one of them is a cuddly baby and wants a hug and wants to sit in the godi all the time. You know, the other one is also going to be the same. No, it's not true. The other one might be a little distant, has his own moods and has his own nature, you know. So you actually love your children according to their needs, how they want to be loved. I think that is very important to understand.
Yeah. And when we are going, like, perspective is changing and we are entering into the child's role, in that case, what you feel like, you observed Abhi Raj also. So what have you observed when Rajveer came in?
Initially, it was a lot of excitement. I want to feed the baby, I want to give milk, I want to bathe him and everything. And then when the time came to feed the baby, so I obviously needed my privacy, you know. That's when I started feeling a little bit of insecurity that, oh, why is mama holding the baby all the time? So what I used to do is, now the baby doesn't know, the baby is small. So, and babies are mostly sleeping only, you know, they just wake up to poop or to eat, like they have feed. So I used to time it in a way where he used to have his own time. And till date, I do that. I take both my kids together and I take both of them separately, so that we have that one-on-one bond also. You know, he's complaining about him to me and he's complaining about him to me, Bhaiya did this and this happened. So I think to have that, I'm not saying I'm perfect. We all make mistakes all the time. Like, we're all learning. It's not like I learned how to be a mom. It comes every day. You learn something new, and your children only teach you. I mean, there's nothing like a manual that you can read from. But this is what I do, and I think it has that would help me so far to, you know, have a beautiful bond with both of them, and I hope it remains that way, inshallah, for the rest of our lives.
So it's like, anyhow, like, there is an insecurity. Like, as a parent, we try hard. You said that you told the relatives that they should come up with two gifts, like gifts for a younger and older both. But most of the time it happens because we take care, like we, in your book also, you say that Ben is going to take a caterpillar or something like that, and grandpa says, ki, no, you cannot take it inside, you have to wait. He goes to grandma with something, and grandma says, no, not now.
Yeah.
Uncle auntie is coming with some gifts, kissing forehead of Andrew, and he is like getting, bit tensed about that, why things are not happening with me. So that excitement of that baby coming in.
Is suddenly gone like this because he's been saying no, nahi, mat karo, aise mat karo, वैसे mat karo, and that is what happens. हमें ऐसे लगता है छोटा बेबी आ गया तो बड़ा तो बहुत बड़ा हो गया है, but that's not true. बड़ा भी तो छोटा ही है ना. Like, he has not suddenly become double his age. He's still growing at his own pace, which is why in the book every time anybody says no to him, they make sure they are doing some other activity to divert his attention, to get him into a better mood. Like if grandpa is saying no, then grandpa takes him out and says, Ki chalo, let's play how we used to play before. Forget about the baby. Like, how you divert the attention. So I think that is very important because अगर बच्चा सिर्फ no सुनेगा तो he'll just have a broken heart. You
Like
need to
rivalry will take place.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So here you are explaining, somehow I felt that maybe it is about Abhiraj and Rajveer when the names are different. It is Ben and Andrew. But most of the time, like, we miss explaining the things to the elder one. Like maybe we miss giving some activities to them, maybe we miss something. What you feel that what child may, like, what he must be feeling, and what is the role of parent in that case when something is already happened or something is already broken, like, maybe their heart is broken due to something.
I think sitting and talking is the best. Sometimes, again, depending on the nature of the child, some kids are not very open about their feelings. So, I think a parent knows best what will work with their child. You just, whether it is taking them out for an ice cream and having a discussion very casually, or it is making them sit down and having a face to face one on one. So I think हर parent का अपने बच्चे के साथ bond अलग होता है, and they would know how to talk to to their child, to make them feel better. But having said that, it is very very important to do that. Like, there is no option of not doing it, because अगर अब नहीं तो कभी नहीं. It's like that. It is now or never, because I think ये जो शुरू के years होते हैं, they are so important. And when you look back at your own childhood, you understand that how important it is, to have memories and have things, छोटी छोटी बातें, हर फ्राइडे आइसक्रीम के लिए ले जाना, या हर रोज स्कूल में पिक करने आना कुछ एक ट्रीट लेकर, समथिंग लाइक दैट, which a child will remember you by. So I feel like जितनी पॉजिटिव मेमोरीज दे सकते हो दे दो, because जब बड़े हो जाएंगे, they get busy with homework, with life, with classes, with everything. So this age is like golden period with them. You should just make the most of it, is my advice to everyone.
So here you include, like, the story of making that kid, like somewhere you are speaking about the fantasy world of a kid is coming in, uh, in a factual thing, something is happening with that kid. Like वो अपने ख्यालों में था कि हाँ Santa comes and then cleans up the chimney and then gives you a gift. And as he said that I want a baby and Santa gives it. So somewhere it is actually making his fantasy true.
Yes.
Is it related to, like, increasing a belief system of a child or something like that?
I think imagination होना तो इतना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है in life. Like, I let them, we read these books where you don't really always paint the elephant gray. It could be any color you want. And why I chose the Santa example in the story is because I said that to my son that, okay, Santa's going to bring the baby. And when he came to the hospital, he was like, Mama, where's the chimney? How did Santa come? Like that. So it's very important to give them that. Why do we take children for magic shows, and tell them all these wonderful stories that are from the imaginary world, because we want them to have an open imagination. I remember now, though, it's like the world is going towards this in this race where everyone has iPads and gadgets and everything. Kids are constantly at it. I remember my mom, when she used to tell us stories at night, it used to never be from a book, it used to be from her memory. And the lights used to be off, and she used to just talk, whether it was Snow White or Cinderella, and our eyes used to be closed, and with her words we used to just visualize how Snow White would be, and how Cinderella would look, and how the pumpkin carriage would look. It is so important. Abhi kya, when you see something like a movie about Snow White, you would always imagine Snow White, okay, blue and white clothes, aise hair hai, this is how the dwarf looks, and this is how the witch looks, and whatever. But back in the day, like I'm talking about when I was small, I used to have various, every night I used to just, imagine Snow White wearing some different color clothes, because it was my imagination and it was my interpretation, and I was open to think the way I wished to. So that's why we've put these magical moments in the story. I think it's very important to keep the child's mind open. जितना सोच सकते हो सोचो, जितना imagine कर सकते हो करो. Like, why not? Go have fun with your thoughts, like that.
To be very honest, what I felt by reading this book is everybody can relate to this particular story, whether he has like real siblings or cousins or something, whatever it is, because it happened. Like, even if you don't have any sibling, you are a single child, but then also if somebody is there and your parents is giving attention to them, you somewhere feel, left out kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
what have you thought? Like,
I,
I
s- I had these experiences where I saw how suddenly it used to all become about the baby. Like, we have a big circle, we meet people, people are having kids all the time, and then you go to their house and you see, like, oh my God, what's happening? So then I actually looked up if there is a book that explains this feeling. There were a lot of books, but I wasn't happy reading them. I'm not demeaning anyone. It's just my perspective that I wanted it to have something else, you know. So then I just sat down and I was like, okay, let's write about this. And when I started writing, it just started coming to me. And it's like just addressing a problem. The problem is there, but nobody's addressing it. Everyone is walking around it, and you want to walk straight into it. So the kind of person I am, I like to walk straight into the problem and ask, what's the problem? Like, what's going on? So it is out of experience that I thought that it was important to write about this.
Yeah, and in your book also, you are including so many incidences. Like, the story may be different, characters are different, but then also somewhere it is related to the kids and parents both. Not
Yes.
not only in India, but in the other countries also this particular thing happens and people can relate to it.
Yes. In fact, a friend of mine was asking me why did you decide to keep these names, I said, because it's not, I don't want my book to be limited to India, because it's a worldwide thing, like it's a human thing, and it doesn't matter which country you're from. Every child would experience it. Everyone who has a sibling would experience it. So that's why I chose these names, where I thought they would fit in every scenario, like that.
Yeah, and in introduction itself, Tufil said that somebody we want, कोई तो होना चाहिए जिसके साथ हम fight करें, जिसके साथ हम कुछ discuss कर सके, जो हमारा support system हो. So it's like, पार्टनर्स इन क्राइम वाली चीज यहाँ पे आ जाती है कि वो जो दो है, वो जो स्टार्टिंग में एक दूसरे को शायद बड़ा वाला छोटे को सोच रहा हो कि अरे मेरा कॉम्पिटिटर है ये, बट
Yeah.
some point they have some attachment with that from childhood itself, a protective nature to that particular child the elder one has. Have you observed something like that between, like,
Well, yeah, I remember. So even me and my siblings, no matter how much we fought as children, my mom used to stop eating food on the table, and she used to be like, first you guys talk to each other, only then I'm going to put a bite in my mouth, because I want you guys to be okay with each other. And so we had our backs, we had each other's backs all the time, even though we were fighting like crazy people. But yet, in the end, if there was an outsider involved, we would be like a team. Like, okay, bring it on. We are here for each other. And the same thing I see with my boys. So when my kids, they meet their cousins, and you know how sometimes they're just bullying each other, pulling each other's leg. So they are constantly there for each other. And my younger one actually is like very, like, how do I call it? He's very, very athletic, and like you can't see him sitting for even a second. He's always running about, jumping, this and that. He's the one who protects my older son when there is a fight. Imagine. So even though he's 3 years younger, but he's always there watching his back and constantly no no bhaiya bhaiya like that. So I think blood is blood. No matter what you say, it pulls, it attracts. So that's something I think it's from God's side.
Andrew in a book is 4 years younger than Ben. And there is an incident in the last chapter of the book that one day they both are sleeping together and Andrew crosses him, and then he, like, gives him a tight wala kick. And then in the morning or so, he discusses it with his mother. And then from that incident, from that kick, he gets the kick of, I am having a best friend in my life from now. So
Yes.
even though that was a kick, how that particular thing you thought to relate?
Because finally, so since the beginning, I'm trying to tell you in the book that every time, why does Ben go to Andrew all the time? कभी वो caterpillar लेके जा रहा है, कभी वो fish लेके जा रहा है. He's just trying to play with his younger brother, but nobody's letting him play, because they all say, नहीं नहीं, just wait, let him grow up a little. Wait, take your time to go and play with him and all that. So he's just frustrated कि यार मुझे कोई कुछ करने क्यों नहीं दे रहा है. And then finally, the day has come when there is some reciprocation from the younger brother, where he's coming or usko chheda aake, and then suddenly he feels, okay, now the time has come. Now I'll be able to play with my brother, because mummy tells him, go catch him now. He's getting very fast, and make up for all the lost fun in the past. So that is kind of significant, because that's when he realizes, okay, my time has come to play with my brother.
So somewhere we have to keep, like, the elder ones, थोड़ा उनको responsible बनाना भी जरूरी है कि they have to feel that protective thing for their younger siblings. So
Yeah.
it's like, have you thought of including that point in this particular chapter?
I think वो ना आ जाता है अपने आप ही, where I don't know, in the end when the story finishes, there are pages with just illustrations, no words, where they are playing together, they are doing dress up, they're having like this Easter egg celebration together, and he's feeding him, yes, in the end. So it's just, if you see the last page where they are just, he's feeding his younger brother.
Yeah.
So when you see ना, वो अपने आप एक ये natural सी चीज है, where the older one feels responsible for the younger one. Like today, they both will come and complain to me, Mama, this one they did this and he did this, and then when I scold दोनों में से किसी को भी, तो they'll just come and say, okay, Mama, leave it, it's fine now. हो गया, don't scold him much, like that. So that's what I'm saying, कि the bonding, it comes from within. Yeah, you've come out from the same womb. There has to be some bonding, right? You've shared the same home for 9 months, turn after turn, but still. So I think that is God's way of connecting the siblings, and there is a pull from within, so you don't really have to create it or anything, it just comes naturally.
Somewhere I felt one more point is that through this book, if there are expecting mothers, they also can, explain their older ones that this is how your sibling is coming and this is how you have to deal. Don't
Yes.
you think so?
You know what? It's very interesting that you asked me that question because what happened was when I had just found out about my pregnancy, um, my older one, he was watching Peppa Pig. We all know Peppa Pig, it's so famous.
Nowadays, it's like, you know.
Yeah. And in that, there was this episode where they explain how the baby is going to come to Peppa. And
Yeah.
I, oh my God, this is so helpful, yeah. I mean, this episode just made my day because now I'll just explain to him giving this example. So somehow I felt ki it was very important to have this particular thing in the book, that how to explain to the baby and how to justify your tummy coming out, and just how to explain to them, because in the child's head it's like jelly, like mummy has become motu and there's jelly moving in her tummy, and what is wrong with mummy, why is she eating so much food? And because that is the child's imagination. So yeah, I think it was important to put it point by point how it starts and how things change and how eventually everything gets fine. So that's what I tried to do, and I hope I've done justice to it.
Yeah, the book is actually wonderful, and I'm sure not only kids, but I feel this is much, much helpful for the parents to, explain their children with the pictures and in an interesting way, that how they can welcome the sibling and how they can be with them. And this is something which I really loved about this book.
Thank
There
you.
is one more surprise with this book, and this is the activity book that comes with this book. Like,
Yes.
how you thought of this particular idea?
So I just thought, how we are constantly looking for something for our children to do, whether it is on the plane or on the train or, even on a weekend when they're bored. So I thought, let me add something fun to it. And nobody has really done it. I don't know of any Indian children's author who's actually done activity books. At least in India, I don't think anyone has. And I wanted to be the one to do it. And yeah, so we did like fun stuff, different things for all ages, because this book is for starting from 3 4 years to up to 8 years. So if you go through the pages of the activity book, there are sticker activities for younger kids, then there are grammar activities for older kids, and so it's for all ages actually. And I just thought it would be fun, and I'm actually getting amazing response from airports, because the WH Smith and all these stores at the airports that are selling the book, they're like, it's selling like hotcakes because it comes with an activity book. And when you're boarding a flight, 3 hours, 2 hours, jitna bhi hai, the child is busy, because reading to you can only do for a little bit of time. Na, uske baad kya? So uske baad there is an activity book for them to enjoy and for the parents to chill and relax on the plane or wherever they for a while. So I just thought it made sense.
True. For me, this book is like a piece of cake. Like, you can just repeat it and, read it again and again and explain your kid with so many illustrations and, happy faces that you included. Actually, the positive point that I have seen in this book is there are happy faces more. Like, Ben is nervous, but everybody is responding him with happy faces and, like, cute smiles and everything. So this book will surely bring smile on the faces of the kids and parents also. But your message to the parents and children to for this book, like with activity, they can proceed with this. But what is your message for reading this book and to go with this?
So my message would be read it once with your children and then let them read it again, so that there is this equal wavelength where you know what they're feeling, and try to talk about them later. Like especially when there's a new baby coming in the family, it is very important to sit and talk. So if this book helps, it would like mission accomplished for me then, because that's why I wrote it. And yeah, activity is a very nice way to sit and bond with the child again, where you just sit, for an hour and they're doing something. And it's always important to discuss any book, not just my book, any book after reading it, to know how much the child has understood. And I think that's why I actually did this, because then एक वो बैठा रहता है दिमाग में. You don't really, out of sight, out of mind वाली बात नहीं होती. It just registers and it stays in with you for a little bit longer.
Great. It was actually a great talking about this book, because this book is something which I just read it in, sometime. As a parent, I am like, happy reading some books, like, जो आप एकदम थोड़ी देर में खत्म कर सकते हो, and then you can explain that to your child. So I am very happy with this book, but I have one observation. Tufel, do you have any question? Like, I can see on your face.
Yes. Ma'am, but mostly the important topics ma'am has already touched into this topic. Being an elder one, I too have one question to you, ma'am. This is from my personal experience that there's a development of some protective instinct, to losing the privilege of being the only child. So what do you want to say on this? Like, does this happen? Like, how does the slow progression of emotions of jealousy or feeling insecure starts, and at which stage it all starts, ma'am?
Okay, so just to come out clear, I am the middle child of my house. तो ना मैं बड़ी हूँ ना मैं छोटी हूँ, मैं बीच में हूँ. So that that feeling that you're talking about, I never personally felt it because there was already a child before me, and then suddenly there was another child after me. So I never had the time to adjust to this. It was a given कि भाई आप तो one of the children हो, है ना? You're not the only one. But I do know from my sister's experience, because she was the older one, and it, I think, see, when parents are giving sanskar and raising their children, they do it equally for all. But every child turns out to be very different from the other. Even twins are not same in nature, right? They may look same, but they're not actually same nature-wise. So I think it is with time, when you grow up, you realize like ये बातें इतनी छोटी हैं, and when you become a parent, you realize कि shit यार, why did I trouble my parents so much? Like, they are doing the best that they can. So when you grow up, when you are in their place, you understand so many things that you never understood before. So I think it is just a matter of time. All this jealousy, insecurity, वो time के साथ साथ you just have to learn to, take charge and not let the emotions weigh you down. So I think with time, everyone just understands what the process of life is, and we all, our parents, us, our children, we're all doing our best to keep everyone happy. So that's all. That's my take on it.
Great. I would suggest, Tofel, you also should read this book. So
Definitely.
it was really wonderful discussing with you, Raisha. It's like superb experience discussing your book and spreading a message for the parents and the children both. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part.
Lovely chatting with you guys. I just kind of spoke nonstop. But I had a lot of fun. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raisha. Over to you, Tufel.
Yes, thank you so much. Indeed, as ma'am said, like this is one of the most important issue of emotions, especially the toddlers, which you touched, ma'am, in this beautiful book. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure being a part of this session. It will be a great pleasure to read this book. Our audience can get this book of the copy of this book from the links provided in the description, or they can visit a crossword store in the city. I once again thank you so much, the audience also in from the system. The session was supported by the Rupa publication. You can get your copy from the Rupa website as well. A must-read book for the generation today and for the parents as well. Wish you all a happy reading, friends. I once again thank you for this audience, and please get their copies as soon as possible and get ready for the quiz based on this session, and visit www.oclfnagpur.com to participate in a quiz and win exciting gifts and prizes. A gigantic Orange City Literature Festival will be back in November 2022 in Nagpur, the city of oranges. So get ready for the physical fest in the coming winter, attending awesome sessions and interacting with your favorite authors. Keep following us for the updates of Festival Awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you.